Both presidential campaigns had their top surrogates on the trail Thursday. President Obama crisscrossed Florida, where early voting is already underway. Clinton's former rival, Bernie Sanders, was in the key battleground state of Ohio, and running mate Tim Kaine was in Arizona. Donald Trump had his running mate, Mike Pence, out on the trail in Iowa. Ted Cruz, Trump's primary rival, joined Pence for a few stops. And Trump's wife, Melania, was in Pennsylvania for her first speech since the Republican convention in July. She came under fire then after it became clear some sections of her speech were lifted from a speech First Lady Michelle Obama gave in 2008. On Thursday, Melania Trump made a plea for respect and kindness in American politics, and she pledged to fight cyberbullying if she became First Lady.
Our culture has gotten too mean and too rough, especially to children and teenagers. It is never okay when a 12-year-old girl or boy is mocked, bullied, or attacked. It is terrible when that happens on the playground. And it is absolutely unacceptable when it's done by someone with no name hiding on the internet. We have to find a better way to talk to each other, to disagree with each other, to respect each other. We must find better ways to honor and support the basic goodness of our children, especially in social media. It will be one of the main focuses of my work if I'm privileged enough to become your First Lady.
Emily Tisch Sussman is a Democratic strategist and campaigns director at the Center for American Progress Action Fund. And Kevin Sheridan is a CBSN political contributor and Republican strategist. He is in our Washington bureau. All right, Kevin, let me start with you. We traditionally see the candidate's spouse play a visible role in the campaign, but what has Melania Trump's role been in this race?
Well, I guess they're rolling her out now to attempt a late effort to kind of soften Donald Trump. That's traditionally what a spouse does. It's a little late in the game for it, honestly. I think Melania Trump is a perfectly lovely and compelling person. She gave a pretty good speech today. It was introducing a new topic of cyberbullying, which, of course, is a real problem. And something that Donald Trump weirdly could actually address if he wanted to. He could probably tell his supporters to tone it down. He could tone it down himself. Maybe she's communicating a message to him in some weird way through the media. But look, the last 5 days are all about turnout, not making mistakes, and winning news cycles. Right now, Donald Trump has the momentum. Hillary Clinton does not, because of the FBI cloud that's over her, the investigation that's ongoing over her into the foundation and into her emails again. And that's what the story is playing out now. Donald Trump just needs to not make mistakes, not say anything offensive or crazy in the next few days, and let his surrogates do the work and just stick to the teleprompter.
Emily, we're showing Hillary Clinton there. The backdrop to Melania Trump's speech is Hillary Clinton's 20-point lead among women voters in Pennsylvania, according to a Quinnipiac poll out this week. What did you make of having Mrs. Trump on the campaign trail today?
Well, it was a little weird. I mean, it's a little weird that she comes out in her first debut to talk about cyberbullying, the probably main thing that everybody from the beginning, like Republicans all over the place, have said, Trump, please stop tweeting, like stop engaging, stop responding to followers. So it's a little bit weird that she then comes out to actually address the topic. I mean, when I first saw that Melania was coming out onto the campaign trail, I thought we were finally going to see this immigration speech that he had been saying was coming from her months and months ago. If you recall, after her speech at the Republican convention, when it turned out she did plagiarize part of her speech, he tried to do sort of a don't look over here, look over here, and say, well, she's coming forward with this big immigration speech, and that never came. So I actually thought that was going to be what finally came, but there's nobody who knows, and as Kevin just said this best, like, there's nobody who knows more you don't need to make mistakes right now more than Trump. And we know that because he actually said it out loud at a campaign rally. He was like, don't screw up, stick to the script, stick to the script. That's weird, too. Like, since when should a presidential candidate be having to remind themselves out loud that if they don't stick to a script, they're going to say something offensive? That's nuts.
Kevin, do you want to respond to that?
I agree with Emily. I think it's a weird situation where his mouth was just spitting out the words in his head, and he was just, don't screw up, and that's what he needs to do. And he's right. He just don't screw up in the next 5 days, and he could actually come back and win this thing in a crazy way. Hillary Clinton is that damaged of a candidate. It's amazing to say it, and the Democratic Party is going to have to ask themselves, how did they end up here? How did they end up in the last 5 days of worrying about losing to Donald Trump? And that actually could happen now.
Let me ask you this, Kevin. I want to talk about this FBI investigation. Donald Trump made it the focus of a new campaign ad, and I want to play a clip for our viewers.
Hillary Clinton is under FBI investigation again after her emails were found on pervert Anthony Weiner's laptop. Think about that. America's most sensitive secrets, unlawfully sent, received, and exposed by Hillary Clinton, her staff, and Anthony Weiner. Hillary cannot lead a nation while crippled by a criminal investigation.
All right, Kevin, that sounds like a closing argument.
Yeah, that's some closing argument. We've been waiting to hear what his nickname for Anthony Weiner is, and it's pervert Anthony Weiner. So now we know. Look, this is. We also learned today that 4 FBI field offices are investigating the Clinton Foundation. They've been doing so for the last year. He can stick to that message, talk about it. The negative news flow on Hillary Clinton now is something I've never seen in the last few days of a campaign. This is a very tough spot for her to be in, and she is throwing, I mean, they are in full freak out mode. They are throwing everything they can possibly do right now to try to stop this news flow from happening, but there's really nothing they can do about it because she is under investigation, and Anthony Weiner being in any headline is never a good day for your candidate.
What about that, Emily? I mean, what do you think the strategy here is? CBS News has learned from her campaign that she's really not planning on talking about this, which is a little bit of a change from initially, right? We heard her talk about, and other people talk about, FBI Director James Comey, and now it appears they're trying to move beyond this. What do you think about that approach?
Well, I think she should be focusing on what she's going to do to lead the country. Like, she should not focus on scandal of the day. We are 5 days away from the vote for the president of the United States. She doesn't have to talk about what's going to happen November 9th or 10th. Like, she will be president for 4 years and for all of the country. So she should be making that case about what her platform is. What we saw happen after the debates, I think this is something that the media focused on less, but what was important is that the media narrative around the debates was about how badly Donald Trump did. But what actually a lot of voters were responding to, we saw this in a lot of focus grouping afterwards, is they were responding to how much they surprisingly liked her. They weren't prepared to. They thought she was this monster. But once they actually saw her in action talking about policies, they actually really liked her a lot. So that is the case she needs to keep on making. She has strong surrogates out on the trail. Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, President Clinton, like, everyone's out there for her. And they need to hit as many swing states as possible just to keep people reminded that both they can vote now, they can vote early, but also to keep them committed to staying online if there do end up being long lines.
All right, a lot to keep an eye on. Kevin Sheridan and Emily Tisch Sussman, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.